Welcome to Musings and Modalities. I'm your host, Tristen Stawicki. Think of me as your pragmatic shaman bestie. Join in with other high vibe, lovely people as I unravel spiritual ideas to help create change and growth in your life. I cover a variety of spiritual topics, sharing knowledge to meet you wherever you are in your journey. As a shaman, astrologer, and human design reader, I help you understand how to make informed decisions and incorporate different modalities using discernment and your own intuition. Today, you will gain powerful shamanic healing tools you can use to incorporate spiritual practices in non-traditional ways. Whether you're just beginning or need a knowledgeable best friend with the next phase of your journey, I'm here to help. Stay tuned. Musings and Modalities starts now. Hey everyone, and welcome to Musings and Modalities. I'm Tristen Stawicki, and for the next 30 minutes, we are diving into blowing up your comfort zone, how staying stuck is holding you back. In this episode, I'll share specific actionable steps you can take to understand your comfort zone and where we need to shatter your limiting beliefs about what you can handle and what you deserve. I'll share my personal experiences working with my comfort zone, blowing it up, and really the kind of like rut and routine I experienced for the last 2 years. I also have a few exciting life updates and the upcoming astrology for June 2025. This is going to be more of a vulnerable episode to match the energy we have as Mercury moves into Cancer. So, to kick us off, I wanted to really define what a comfort zone is because it is talked about in society, it is talked about in a few different ways and written about. And so, we always love to go back to the definition, go back to the dictionary. And so, a comfort zone is defined as a place or situation where one feels safe or at ease and without stress. Right. And how lovely does that sound? Sounds like a beautiful place. And so, we often think like, why wouldn't we want to stay there? Don't we spend most of our life trying to achieve ease, making sure we feel safe and secure? And to that, I say if it's familiar and you're really locked in with your routines and your days have the same vibe to them, that has like a beautiful nostalgic feel, right? And when we think of that kind of energy around a comfort zone or that yearning, we also have this longing for simpler days, for less responsibilities. Especially as kids are out for summer, we often think back to our own summers and just the freedom we experienced. A really great example of spending time in your comfort zone is kind of when you spend a few weeks at the beach. And each day is waking up, you're looking at the water, you're making meals, or perhaps you're going out, but it's a very like neutral energy. It's very calm. There aren't ups and downs throughout the day. It's just kind of like we're going this activity to this, and we're going to go eat, we're going to take a nap, right? You probably know exactly what time your nap's going to be. You're going to have picnic lunches and really just quiet minds. Maybe you're reading a book and that's not something you get to do in your day-to-day life. And there's this kind of experience where we're just bobbing along. And in a society and in our everyday life, when we are giving so much, we are working incredibly hard just to survive. It's really easy. It's really maybe habitual is a better term to hold on to these pockets of comfort and to long for them. Right. So I do want to honor like there is time and a place when we should have know what our comfort zone is and be able to reach for it as we need to be replenished. But what I don't want to have happen is when you stay in a comfort zone or you stay in a place that you're at out of habit more than anything else. So I want to dive into now that we've kind of defined a comfort zone, give a little bit of example. How do you know what your comfort zone is, right? And so if you're like trying to define it for yourself and not really coming up with much, you can think about the last time that like you maybe you haven't been fulfilled or like felt growth. And you can like look at your life, you can look at your job, you can look at where you live. Like if you'll close your eyes and kind of, when I say the word, picture your comfort zone, like take a minute right now to like think through what comes up for you. And this could be perhaps you see yourself like at home watching TV, could find yourself listening to music. Do you see yourself at a place maybe you've worked at for several years? So really interrogate what comes up for you, think through it. For me, my ultimate comfort zone and where I'm like happiest is watching reality TV, watching women go to parties and fashion shows, and perhaps there's some light screaming at each other, it's just a good time. Non-jokingly though, you really think about being an observer rather than a participant, right? And so an easy test if you're not sure of a comfort zone is, am I creating or am I consuming, right? And I think consuming, or even the word escaping, is really clear, right? Are you consuming and escaping? Are you actually, working towards something, building something? So I wanted to talk through creating a little bit more. This can be creating deeper relationships with friends. This could be a tangible creation like knitting or art or writing or music. There's just a very different energy when you're like creating something in a space that you feel safe and you're just consuming something in a place that's familiar. And so I really want you to sit with yourself, maybe journal a little bit about that or see what comes up for you. Or if you're struggling to think of something that isn't a comfort zone, it might be some time to look at some areas of growth for yourself. All right, so we've defined what a comfort zone is. We've talked about some examples, really given you that quick, easy test. Are you creating or are you consuming? And so I wanted to dive into three compelling reasons why clinging to your comfort zone can really hinder your personal and spiritual evolution. And that's why a lot of us are here, right? We're not here to just go along to get along. We're really here to show up. We're really here to achieve or get ever closer to our North Star, our North Node, our reason for being here in this lifetime. And so I wanted to dive into the first reason, and that really is that increased sedentary and routine behavior, that kind of lifestyle that leads to stagnation, that leads to being stuck. And so staying within the confines of what's familiar really breeds like a monotonous routine. It really breeds the state of just like every day looks the same. There's no level of excitement. Like it's all just like this level across the board. And you're not really getting anything new. You're not really getting anything to bounce off of. And that could prevent you from discovering new passions, new skills, or perspectives. And the comfort zone, while seemingly safe, right? Like it's comfort, it's comfortable, can really trap us in a state of inaction where you become increasingly resistant to change and growth. It can foster complacency and eventually even like a sense of apathy, right? And you really find yourself going through those motions. And, when people ask you how you are, you're just kind of meh. Like all of life feels just kind of meh because there's nothing to trigger kind of highs and lows for you. And you're not really truly living. And that's what we want to avoid, right? We want to have a beautiful, fulfilled life. The second is that when you're in that routine or in that comfort zone, you really limit opportunities for magical moments. You really limit opportunities for blessings and interesting encounters. And so we want to step outside of our comfort zone and open up new doors to serendipity, right? It's one of my favorite words. Such a beautiful energy behind that word. When you try new things and you meet new people and you explore uncharted territories, right? And that can even be like a little day trip to a new bookstore. It doesn't have to be these huge sweeping trips, right? It's just something different and new. You really increase the likelihood of encountering unexpected opportunities and blessings and life-changing experiences. When we stay stuck and we limit our exposure to the unfamiliar, our world really, really gets smaller and smaller. And we are effectively kind of closing the door energetically. I had some beautiful, like 2 weeks ago, I had some beautiful encounters walking in kind of the local town. And I was just so grateful that I had the time and space to really have like conversations with people and show up fully. And to be honest, it was a little bit of a low energy day starting out. I had to do some errands, do some monotonous things like the post office, go to the bank, things like that. And so it was just kind of like, all right, let me kind of do these chores basically. And then, after you have one beautiful encounter, I feel like more and more show up for you. And that really helped raise my energy. And it really, like, it's one of the most beautiful days I had in the last month just because it was new and different. And it wasn't me in front of my computer working on my business or going to work, especially I work remotely and my business is remote. And so my worldview, if I'm not careful, can feel really small and isolated. So I really encourage you to allow magic in when you dare to venture beyond your normal, what you know and what is familiar. Third, it really hinders your progression on your healing journey. It really kind of slows you down a bit. And when we are remaining in our comfort zone, it really allows us to avoid facing difficult emotions or unresolved issues or challenging situations. And this avoidance may feel safer in the short term, right? Because you're like, oh, if I don't venture out and experience that, like I'm saving myself from it. But often those just show up in different ways, right? And it prevents us from doing the necessary inner work kind of immediately. And it sets us up to have maybe more of a roller coaster effect later. Healing often requires confronting our fears and addressing those past traumas and really making changes that may feel uncomfortable initially, right? But that's why we're here. That's the beauty of being alive. And by staying in our comfort zone, by staying in those comfortable places, by not really showing up in the world, we're remaining stuck at our current level of emotional and spiritual development. And this really prevents us from being unable to move forward and experience deeper levels of wholeness. So, as we think about kind of the effects of staying in a comfort zone, we have that easy test of are you creating or consuming? I want you to start looking at your habits and your life a little bit differently. Um, so, I've shared those three reasons why staying stuck is harmful to your growth, really encouraging those magical moments, encouraging you to go out in the world, even just a small step, right? You can think of places that are still like safe and a great container, like love going to a library, a bookshop, coffee shop, like really just places where it's more of a controlled environment overall, that if you're having trouble just venturing out or feeling like you need that safety cocooned around you, you can definitely find those within your community. And you can also go with a friend or meet someone, which is really lovely. So I wanted to share about what you do next, right? So you've kind of identified your comfort zones. I've talked about why, we need to get out of them and blow them up. And so I wanted to share this story with permission, always and of course. I've been working with this lovely client, and she truly has some of the kindest energy. She was at a time of change in her life where she really wasn't feeling fulfilled in her corporate job, often relatable to many of us, right? And she really started to feel that in a lot of aspects of her life, that she wasn't sure where she was getting fulfillment, and she was just kind of going along, right? Just showing up every day. It's so easy when we have bills and chores and errands and just the minutia of being alive to fill our days with things that aren't fulfilling just to continue to survive. And so, because there were so many kind of aspects of her life she was looking for to change, and we were diving into, this was such a great lesson to me, and kind of doubling down on why I love working with clients over a longer period of time. So we did have her in a 3-month container, and we were able to tackle her getting out of her comfort zone within that, right? So it's like weekly calls, meetings, support throughout that time. And so she really felt that she was held in a safe way as she made big changes, because it's really hard when you do like a one-off call with someone and you're like, great, I want to change my life. I know what to do. And then you're just out there mucking about, trying to figure it out on your own, and you're just trying to, maybe you're feeling uncertain and things like that. And so, what I was able to do with her in that 3-month time is look at her transits, right? Let's look at her astrology to see what part of her chart is being activated, where are some influences from the planets coming through, what's needing some attention. And for her, it was her sixth house of health and wellness. And so, really working with her on her day-to-day routines so she would have the energy to tackle some of the bigger changes she was looking for, really making sure her foundation as well, that she felt safe and secure enough to make those changes, doing some healing work within that before we just started kind of overhauling her life bit by bit. I also reviewed her locational astrology because it could be that travel or a move would be very supportive to her, right? Or it could be that the energy of where she was at has kind of shifted as the planets have shifted overall. And I had several shamanic healing sessions within this container to really help out, pull out that like energetic gunk for her and repattern her thinking, which is honestly the coolest thing that I get to do as a shaman, where we are able to pull out those limiting beliefs related to money and worthiness and receiving and love and energetically reprogram the mind. It's incredibly powerful magic. It's magic that has a high level of responsibility. But man, is it the most powerful magic I've ever seen, where you're able to really just kind of do a full reset and refresh, and you just feel like every bit of your molecules to the neuroplasticity of the brain is in alignment as you go to overhaul and change things in your life. And of course, not everyone needs a life overhaul, and I'm not saying that everyone should do that. It was just time for her to kind of take that on. And so I'm so honored by the work that we did, and so honored she allowed me to share this story. And most beautifully, she did tell me that working with the work we did together in the container and me working with her helped her achieve 5 years worth of change in just 12 weeks. Like, blown away by that, blown away by her growth, her change, and that she really feels like a new but aligned person. Like, when someone's in full alignment in their energy and authenticity, you feel it, you see it. Like, you know when that person walks in a room, and it's just so powerful, and just so grateful to do this work. So, I also wanted to share some other kind of beautiful stories about why it's worth it, right? I know when you're looking at your life, you're like, well, I'm comfortable, like why should I change? Okay, maybe there's growth I'm missing out on. Well, don't really feel like taking that on right now. Completely understand, but I wanted to double down into sharing the experience. I was a vendor at an incredible event with a beauty boost that was a fitness sampler, right? And there were so many incredible people. And it was really interesting and actually is the reason why we're doing this topic this week. But they naturally started talking about their comfort zones, which was really odd to me in a cool way. It was just like intriguing because all of these amazing women were sharing openly how they recently moved across the state. They moved from the West Coast, right? They left their job. One woman, and she opened up her own gym and is helping teach strength training to women to help make it be more relatable and an easier barrier to like do. And there was just a million inspiring stories, like so many incredible people. And so I just wanted to say it is hard and vulnerable to get off the couch, to get out of your comfort zone, to do something different. But when you show up fully in a new way, it's so worth it. And seeing the sheer joy that came through in these people, and just like they did the hard thing and they are blown away by how the universe has helped them in this process is incredible. So always remember that the work is worth it. In exciting news, or other exciting news, because of course those stories were beautiful and exciting too. I have a couple of life updates. So I am in a new space for those of you that watch the video rather than just listen. Um, I have lived in the same home for many years, and about 2 years ago, I really started to feel stifled. Started to feel like more discomfort in the space. Even, I of course have good house hygiene and would keep it energetically clean. Like no one like felt like the energy was off. I just didn't feel supported. And that came through both energetically and annoyingly through like the loudness of the road, the neighbors just being like kind of blah. It just wasn't where I was meant to be. And I'd done so much growth in that home. I was so excited for I still appreciate it so much in the container that it created for me. but it was time to go. So, even though I've rented my whole adult life, I did buy my first house, which is really cool. It's my beautiful new office. And that is why I'm in a new space. So I just moved. So we have an upgraded room, upgraded home, upgraded magic. I am so incredibly grateful and happy. This could not have been possible without the universe, my guides, especially my galactic guides, and everyone who supported me and my business. So thank you, thank you. I have moved out into the country. I have beautiful woods right behind me that you can kind of see. So I am a full shaman of the woods. I'm returning to my roots, which is very much being in the country, which brings its own level of healing and beautiful challenges. This is my next level, and I'm absolutely only getting started. There are going to be big changes in how I do business and what my life looks like, which I'll continue to share. I, of course, have big dreams and an important destiny, and I need to get to work on bringing that ever closer to my reality. But there is absolutely nothing about buying a home that was inside my comfort zone, being seen, dealing with government stuff, like having to show up as an adult in the world, just all of these things. My comfort zone was completely blown up. I'm still trying to find her. Where'd she go? Like, it's kind of all over the place. And so it's been a beautiful time, but there are some really big next levels that are coming through, which is why this topic was something I wanted to talk about as well. All right, so I want to make sure you're set up for success for June. June is a really fascinating month for astrology. So I wanted to give us our astro report, our energy update. So Monday, June 9th, Jupiter moved into the sign of Cancer. Jupiter will be in the sign for about a year. And Jupiter is exalted in Cancer, right? Which is a beautiful word, meaning it's super happy, it's vibing, she's thriving, and is so happy to be in that sign. This is also my Jupiter return, right? And so, what that means for me is that this is where the planet was when I was born. And so, this energy is extra special. Cancer is all about the home, is all about family, and there's a flavor of nostalgia in the air. So, I really, this is collective transit, right? So, even if it isn't your Jupiter return, um, the focus for this energy is really seeing where you can be more generous, where you can be a good host, where you can be more supportive to your loved ones. And then you can kind of watch the blessings unfold in real time as you honor this energy. It is a pretty fast energy. Jupiter is in this sign, as I mentioned, for about a year, but I find that there's a quickness to it. I'm not waiting, things are days and weeks, not months, is kind of the energy I feel. There are also several planets in Cancer that are coming through, right? We have Cancer season coming as Gemini season winds down. And the more we honor our emotional state and offer safe haven for those around us, the easier this time will be. So, the day before this transit with Jupiter, we actually had Mercury move into Cancer as well. And as we know, I love working with the energy of Mercury. It's so important to me. And this is a great time to share your story, to work with emotions in writing or social media posts. Your intuition will also get a lovely boost over this transit. Some call outs, though, is that this can be more of an emotional time. There could be outbursts. There could be some tension with logic versus how you feel. There could be some easily hurt feelings as we all collectively remember how to handle the upcoming Cancer season, which I say lightly, right? But there's just more of that emotional tinge that comes through. So I highly recommend you put on your favorite movie and spend time at home as you need to replenish your energy. And then on June 11th, we had that beautiful full moon in Sagittarius. I adore Sagittarius energy as it has a gorgeous kind of long tail view, right? The philosophical view of our journey, especially our journey since the new moon, the Sagittarius new moon, December 1st, 2024. And I want you to think back to that time, to what dreams and what hopes you had. For me, my new home was absolutely one of those, and I so appreciate the universe being divinely timed and right on schedule. I also set some intentions to find my people and my community in this new place that I'm living. I moved about a half hour away from where I was, so there's a whole new history to learn of what the land I'm going to be on. There's a whole new just experience of life. A gas station isn't really close to me. I am passing tractors on the road, so it's kind of a different energy than that more kind of city vibe I was living in. And I'm already seeing some beautiful things come through, but I'm really excited as we kind of see the culmination over the next few days with this full moon. When we have a few planets changing signs, especially those that don't often change signs, I try to take each day as it comes, right? And so I really encourage you to be flexible in your schedule, listen to what you need, and lean into the energy of water whenever you're in doubt, right? Be fluid. Um, think of the energy of cleansing. Maybe if you need to do some extra, I don't want to say protections, just like maybe hermit up a little bit or, review your energy and how you're feeling, and really work with your emotions and to move through them as you can. I hope you've enjoyed this episode, Blowing Up Your Comfort Zone, How Staying Stuck is Holding You Back. In this episode, I covered what a comfort zone is, how it's specifically hindering your growth, and why shattering it is the fastest way to your next level. To discuss more limiting beliefs and uncover what's holding you back from the life you deserve, book a 90-minute shamanic healing session with me. In this session, I'll use energy healing, past life clearing, and more to break through limiting beliefs and align your subconscious beliefs with conscious action. This work is transformational on a soul level. If you weren't sure like exactly what your next level should be, or you kind of feel lost or uncertain with your next steps, let's dive deeper into your birth chart and book a birth chart reading with me at musingsandmodalities.com. I am being called to move off one-off sessions to working only in a multi-month container. This change will take place probably in July. We'll say early July. So if you are interested in a reading or a session with me, please book it now, as moving forward, my business is being called to show up differently, part of my next level. So as I mentioned, working with me is transformational. And this will be unlike any other astrology reading or healing session you've had. My clients are some of the most genuine, kind, engaged people, and I can't wait to help you join and find your next level. Thank you so much for watching Musings and Modalities with me, your pragmatic shaman bestie. Tune in the second and fourth Thursdays of each month at 3:30 p.m. Pacific, 6:30 p.m. Eastern for more fabulous episodes. Thank you for listening. You've been listening to Musings and Modalities with me, Tristan, your pragmatic shaman bestie. For more powerful healing tools, join me every second and fourth Thursday at 3:30 p.m. Pacific on Transformation Talk Radio. I cover a variety of topics to meet you wherever you are at on your spiritual journey. Learn techniques to work with pendulums, past life healing, astrology, and more. Please share the show and subscribe for more guidance from your pragmatic shaman bestie at musingsandmodalities.com.